Hey, Shandor here, and today I wanted to touch on a BBC documentary I just saw. It was called "No Sex, Please, We're Japanese," and disappointingly, it wasn't about sex or the Japanese people's sex lives or anything like that. It was about the well-known problem of the population decline and the aging population in Japan. Now, one interesting statistic that was like kind of dropped in the middle was that only according to some survey only 27% of Japanese couples have sex every week. Now, is this a real statistic? Is this the case really? I don't know. First of all, Japanese people are humble, so if they are asked the question about something, they tend to say less instead of more, like we do in the West. So if, say, a Japanese couple and an American couple both have like sex 100 times a year, then and someone asked them in a survey anonymously, obviously, then the Japanese couple will say less. They will say like 70 or 80 or even 50 or something like that. And I think the Western people will say more because they're proud of it or something. So they'll say 120 or 150 instead of 100. So I think, first of all, this 27% is rather debatable, but I don't know. Maybe they have less sex than other people. Certainly, the meticulous cleanliness and the perfectionism doesn't help with sex, at least not in my experience. We we definitely didn't make it to the 27% without going into further detail. Nowhere near the 27%, which was one of the very difficult things for me. And now back to this documentary. It kind of points a finger at men that they're no longer interested in women, and I can see that being the case in like a very small percentage of Japanese society, and this kind of points a finger at the otakus, the anime nerds, the geeks. And there's like two guys in their late 30s, older than myself, who have this software on their Nintendo, and they're playing a dating simulation game. And okay, yeah, to be fair, that's not very productive, and it's not what you expect a man in their late 30s to do. But otakus are, they're not the cause of this. They're kind of like more like a symptom of how Japanese society is, that they choose to escape to a virtual world rather than um, accepting the challenge of dealing with the real world, because the real world in Japan, especially when it comes to marriage and raising kids, is not at all appealing. And if they want to change this demographic downward spiral, then maybe they should address the causes instead of pointing fingers at escapees like otakus. They're not the only ones, by the way. First of all, getting married in Japan is a financial commitment, probably even more so in the Western world, because once you're married, if you're a man, you're supposed to financially support your wife 100%, and the wife is supposed to stay home and cook and do the housework and find fault with everything. Okay, the last bit is optional, um, but you get the picture. It's very traditional, very rigid gender roles, and it's not very much fun for. Well, I don't know, maybe women like it, but grown men don't tend to take kindly to the idea of having their social life over, because marriage just kind of puts them in a cage even more so than in the West. Your social life is basically over outside of outside of the company where you work at, because there you have to go. It's part of the work that you go, drinking with the boss or drinking with clients or company events, whatever. Um, but outside that, you're dead. Social life end off, and also your salary goes to your wife's bank account, and if you're lucky, you get a little pocket money to buy cigarettes, booze, or the the occasional anime goods, and that's it, and that's what you do for the next 30-40 years, and hey, be happy and smile. So it's not very appealing to the guys. To the ladies, for career women who want to be something and do something and have a meaningful work life, it's equally unappealing. Now, there's not many of them, but it's certainly on the rise that women want to be in leadership positions. They want to have careers. It's like 30 years behind the West, but it's coming and it's increasing. And if you're that kind of a woman in Japan, marriage is basically out of the question, because once you're married, you're not really expected to work anymore. Matter of fact, it's almost like you're expected to quit your job upon marriage, and and that's not that great. And if you especially if you have kids, then you simply can't do the long work hours that are required in Japan. You just can't do it anymore, because you have to pick up the kids, you have to take care of them. Kids get sick, you have to stay home with them. And from that point onwards, you can't really expect to have a full-time job, because it just doesn't happen. There's no technical ways of doing that. So yeah, it's a difficult situation for both men, and I think for women as well. Also, there's the issue of raising kids, because even if you're married, first kid comes along, it's ridiculously expensive to raise kids in Japan. It's first of all, up till the age of 6, it's basically the mom has to take care of the kid, because there's the nursery schools, kindergartens. There's like 10 kids for one spot at the government or city-sponsored ones, and the private ones are really expensive, so most people can't afford that. So until the age of 6, hey, you're on your own, sort it out. Now, from what I heard, it's kind of like the same situation in America, but here in Europe we have systems to take care of kids, of working moms, of single moms. So it's not a joyride, but it's perfectly doable to have a full-time job as a single mom or as a working mom, if that's what they want to do. The structures in society are in place to do that. In Japan, they're not. Okay, so until the kid is 6, hey, you sort it out any way you can. If the grandparents can help, then that's the best, but um, you sort it out, yeah. And now, then the kid starts to go to school, then the time is freed up, but the expenses are like sky high. First of all, there's school uniforms, of course, then there's sports uniforms, and then there's club uniforms, because everybody joins some kind of club, and everybody has to wear and also wants to wear the same things, have the same bags, it's kind of like an identity thing that they drill into them. So there's no way that a parent can say that, no, I'm not buying this bag, no, I'm not buying this uniform. No, it has to be done, and they're not cheap. And And there's just one thing, and then there's the cram schools after school where every decent kid is supposed to go to, and that's their social life as well. So really, there's no way around skipping the private cram schools or after school schools, or they're called juku in Japanese. Um, it's you're kind of like a social outcast if you don't go to them. So, and parents like to brag to each other that my kid goes to like piano on Monday, maths on Tuesday, English on Wednesday, and it's endless, and that's what they do. So that adds up on top. All in all, I think raising kids in Japan is even more expensive um, when than any Western countries. Not just the actual amount, but the amount in proportion to the salary of the husband, because he's the one who's working, of course. So there's that. So I'm really not surprised that many many people choose to have just one kid, or maybe two, so one child, or maybe two. So those are my perspective, and hey, leave your thoughts below, leave your comments below. Also, if there's any other topic you want me to do videos on, give me suggestions, give me ideas, because I do have lots of stuff I can talk about. So let me know what interests you. Also, click on the links below, check out my other channel as well, and I'll see you in my next video. Ta-ta.